On December 5, 1945, 5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers departed from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on what was supposed to be a routine training mission. The squadron, designated Flight 19, was led by a decorated pilot and instructor. Their mission: practice bombing runs over the Bahamas and return to base. Yet within hours, the planes became hopelessly lost. Radio transmissions revealed confusion, navigational errors, and growing desperation. Then silence. Neither the 5 planes nor their 14 crewmen were ever seen again. To make matters stranger, a massive search effort was launched, and one of the rescue planes also vanished without a trace. The mystery of Flight 19 became one of the foundational legends of the Bermuda Triangle, a region infamous for shipwrecks, disappearances, and speculation. What really happened that day? Part 1. Setting the stage. The Bermuda Triangle. The area loosely referred to as the Bermuda Triangle stretches between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. It has been linked with dozens of maritime and aviation mysteries. Storms, treacherous waters, and magnetic anomalies in compasses have been reported. Some claim supernatural forces, time warps, or even extraterrestrials. The case of Flight 19 cemented the Triangle's reputation in the public imagination. Post-war America. In late 1945, World War II had just ended. The U.S. Navy had thousands of trained pilots, new aircraft, and busy training schedules. Pilots were being retrained for peacetime duties, and flight schools were operating at full capacity. Among these was Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale, the departure point of Flight 19. Part 2. The aircraft. The Avenger torpedo bomber. The Grumman TBF Avenger was a sturdy, reliable torpedo bomber introduced during World War II. Carried a crew of 3. Pilot, radioman/navigator, gunner. By 1945, Avengers were commonly used for training exercises. Flight 19 consisted of 5 Avengers, each fully fueled but not carrying live torpedoes. Part 3. The mission. The plan. The flight plan was simple. 1. Depart Fort Lauderdale. 2. Fly east to a practice bombing range near the Bahamas. 3. Turn north, then back west, and return to base. The entire mission was expected to take no more than 3 hours. The squadron. Flight 19 included instructor, Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, an experienced pilot with combat hours. For student pilots, each leading their own Avenger with crew. In total, 14 men were aboard the 5 aircraft. Part 4. The flight begins. At around 2:10 p.m., the Avengers took off into clear skies. They reached the bombing range near the Bahamas and successfully dropped practice bombs. At this point, the exercise was going exactly as planned. But within an hour, things began to unravel. Part 5. The first signs of trouble. Around 3:30 p.m., radio operators on land began picking up unusual transmissions. Lieutenant Taylor reported that his compass was malfunctioning. His voice was calm but uncertain. He believed he was not where he should be. Students began to voice concerns. Some insisted they were heading west, back toward Florida. Taylor, however, believed they were over the Florida Keys, far south of their intended route. Confusion spread. Part 6. Radio transmissions. Fragments of conversations were recorded by ground control. We can't tell where we are. Everything looks wrong. I don't know how to get to Fort Lauderdale. Both my compasses are out. The planes circled for hours with fuel slowly dwindling. Taylor ordered the squadron to fly northeast, believing it would bring them to land. In fact, it carried them farther out to sea. Ground stations urged the squadron to turn west, but Taylor insisted otherwise. Part 7. Growing desperation. As daylight faded, the pilots grew increasingly anxious. Weather conditions deteriorated. Rain squalls and rough seas developed. The last transmissions included phrases like, "We may have to ditch unless landfall. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together." At around 7:04 p.m., radio contact was lost. Flight 19 had disappeared. Part 8. The immediate search. The Navy quickly launched an unprecedented search and rescue operation. Hundreds of planes and ships scoured the waters. But then, another bizarre twist occurred. A rescue plane with 13 crewmen also vanished. The PBM Mariner patrol plane took off to search for Flight 19, and within 20 minutes, it was gone. Witnesses reported a fiery explosion over the water, suggesting the plane may have exploded midair. No wreckage was ever recovered. Now, not just 14 men, but 27 lives were lost. Part 9: Aftermath. The official Navy investigation concluded that Flight 19 had become disoriented, run out of fuel, and crashed into the sea. But the mystery was never solved. No wreckage was ever found. No bodies were recovered. The disappearance of the rescue plane added to the enigma. For decades, Flight 19 has been cited as evidence of the Bermuda Triangle's strange power. Part 10: The vanishing of the rescue plane. When Flight 19 failed to return, the Navy dispatched search aircraft almost immediately. One of these was a Martin PBM Mariner, a large seaplane nicknamed the Flying Gas Tank because of its heavy fuel loads. At 7:27 p.m., the Mariner took off from Banana River Naval Air Station with a crew of 13 men. Its mission: search the waters where Flight 19 was last heard. But within 20 minutes, the Mariner disappeared from radar. A merchant ship in the area reported seeing a fireball in the sky and an explosion on the water. It was believed that the Mariner had exploded midair, possibly due to fuel vapor igniting. No wreckage was ever found. Now, instead of rescuing Flight 19, the Navy had lost another plane and 13 more men. The mystery deepened. Part 11: The search effort. For the next 5 days, more than 300 boats and planes combed 300,000 square miles of ocean. The search was intense, one of the largest of its time. Yet nothing was found. No oil slicks, no debris, no bodies. The official Navy report stated, "They vanished as if they had flown to Mars." That line captured the imagination of the public. Part 12: Theories of what happened. The disappearance of Flight 19 has generated countless theories. Let's explore the most significant. 1. Navigational error. The official explanation is that Lieutenant Charles Taylor became disoriented. Taylor's compasses malfunctioned, or he believed they had. He thought they were over the Florida Keys when in fact they were over the Bahamas. This misjudgment led him to direct the squadron east, away from Florida, and farther into the Atlantic. By the time the error was realized, fuel was nearly gone. The planes likely ditched into rough seas, where waves quickly swallowed them. Critics argue, the Avengers were sturdy planes. At least some wreckage should have surfaced. Other pilots in the squadron may have realized the error but were ordered to follow Taylor. Still, this remains the most widely accepted explanation. 2. Equipment failure. It's possible multiple compasses failed simultaneously, a rare but not impossible malfunction. Magnetic interference in the Bermuda Triangle has been reported for centuries. Pilots described their instruments behaving erratically. If true, this would explain Taylor's confusion. But again, why no wreckage? 3. Weather and human error. Storms rolled into the area that evening. Squalls, rain, and poor visibility could have disoriented the squadron further. The combination of weather, fatigue, and navigational errors might have sealed their fate. 4. Enemy action. World War II had just ended months earlier. Some speculated German submarines, U-boats, may still have been lurking in the Atlantic. Could Flight 19 have been attacked? No records of U-boat presence support this. By December 1945, most had surrendered. 5. Captured or defected. Conspiracy theories suggest the planes may have been captured by foreign powers or defected intentionally. But 5 planes vanishing without a trace, and with inexperienced student pilots aboard, makes this highly unlikely. 6. The Bermuda Triangle theories. As the story spread, it became central to the Bermuda Triangle legend. Ideas included magnetic anomalies pulling planes off course, a time warp or dimensional portal swallowing the squadron, alien abductions. While not supported by evidence, These theories fueled public fascination. 7. The disappearance of the Mariner. The loss of the PBM Mariner only added to the mystery. Investigators believe it likely exploded due to fuel vapor ignition, a known risk for this aircraft type. But no trace of the Mariner or its crew was ever found. To believers in the Triangle, this was no coincidence. 2 disappearances, one night, same area. Part 13. Investigations and Reports. The Navy conducted a formal inquiry. The conclusion: the squadron leader, Lieutenant Taylor, likely became lost after his compasses failed. The planes ran out of fuel and ditched in the sea. Heavy seas quickly sank them, leaving no trace. Yet some Navy officials disagreed, calling the cause undetermined. That ambiguity fueled speculation for decades. Part 14. Later discoveries. Over the years, numerous wrecks have been discovered in the waters off Florida and the Bahamas. Some claim to be Flight 19, but none were definitively proven. In 1991, 5 Avengers were found off Fort Lauderdale, but serial numbers showed they were not from Flight 19. As of today, no confirmed wreckage of Flight 19 has ever been found. Part 15. Flight 19 in popular culture. The story quickly spread in newspapers. It became a symbol of post-war mystery. In the 1960s and 70s, writers like Vincent Gaddis and Charles Berlitz popularized the Bermuda Triangle, with Flight 19 as its centerpiece. Hollywood joined in. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 1977, depicted Flight 19 reappearing, its planes intact, as if abducted by aliens. Countless documentaries, TV shows, and books kept the story alive. Part 16. Legacy of Flight 19. The loss of Flight 19 was a tragedy. 14 young men vanished, likely victims of navigational error and harsh seas. Another 13 men on the rescue plane perished. In total, 27 lives were lost that December day. Yet the legend lives on. Because there was no wreckage, no closure, and only haunting radio transmissions, the mystery endures. Flight 19 became more than just a training mission gone wrong. It became the foundation of a modern myth, a symbol of the unknown lurking in the Bermuda Triangle. Conclusion. On December 5, 1945, 5 Avengers and 14 men took off on a routine mission. They never returned. Radio messages revealed confusion, fear, and disorientation. A rescue plane vanished as well. Despite massive searches, no trace was ever found. Officially, it was navigational error and fuel exhaustion. Unofficially, it remains one of the greatest aviation mysteries in history. The Bermuda Triangle gained its reputation from stories like this. And even today, nearly 80 years later, people still ask, what happened to Flight 19?